The wind on the Montana plains that night didn't just howl, it screamed. It carried the bite of an early winter storm, flinging sharp snow across the open land. Eli Carter was halfway through boarding up his barn door, his breath puffing in silver clouds, when he saw movement at the edge of the pines. At first, he thought it was a stray deer, too late in the season for much else to be wandering. But then the figure staggered. And fell. Eli dropped his hammer. His boots crunched over the frozen ground as he hurried across the yard, heart pounding. The closer he got, the clearer she became, a young woman, maybe 19, her dress torn at the hem, her hair tangled with bits of ice. She was cradling her right arm against her ribs like it might break if she moved it. Her lips were blue. Her eyes glassy. "Easy, now," Eli murmured, sliding an arm under her shoulders. "You're all right. I've got you." Her voice was barely a whisper. "Please, don't send me away." "Ain't sending you anywhere," he said, lifting her in his arms like she weighed nothing. Inside the cabin, the fire popped in the stone hearth. Eli lowered her into the big leather chair beside it, wrapped a blanket around her, and poured a mug of hot broth. It took nearly an hour before her shivering eased. When she finally spoke, her voice was hoarse. Her name was Clara Boone. She'd been traveling west with her brothers. She didn't explain why she was alone. Didn't say where the brothers were. But Eli noticed the way her gaze kept darting to the window, as though she expected someone, or something, to come riding out of the dark. That first night, she barely ate. But in the morning, when he offered biscuits and coffee, she managed a small smile. It was the first thing about her that felt alive. For the next 2 days, Clara stayed mostly in the cabin. She had a gash on her arm that Eli cleaned and wrapped, and a deep bruise along her ribs. She was quiet, polite. But there was a heaviness in her eyes, the kind a person only gets after seeing something they wish they could forget. Eli didn't push her for answers. He'd been a soldier once, and he knew that sometimes silence was the only thing holding a person together. On the third morning, he found her outside in the yard, scattering corn for the hens. The cold bit at her cheeks, but she seemed steadier on her feet. "Chickens don't care what the weather's like," she said softly, noticing him watching. "Neither do mules," he replied, glancing at his old gray mule, chewing hay in the pen. She laughed, just once, quick and surprised, and it was the first time the cabin felt less like a place for one. Still, Eli could tell she was carrying something heavy. And he had the uneasy sense that it might not be long before whatever she was running from came looking. That night, a branch cracked somewhere out in the dark. Eli, lying in bed, opened his eyes. He reached for the rifle leaning against the sound didn't come again. But he noticed Clara sitting up in the corner chair, blanket wrapped around her shoulders, eyes fixed on the door. "Bad dreams?" he asked quietly. She didn't answer at first. Then. "They came at dawn. Men we didn't know. Took our wagon. The horses. Everything." Her voice shook, but she kept going. She'd been traveling with 3 older brothers, Luke, Sam, and David, on their way to a patch of land upriver. The attackers came in fast, shouting, firing warning shots. In the chaos, one of the wagons overturned. She'd been thrown, landed hard, and by the time she got up, her brothers were fighting to hold the attackers off. She ran. 2 days through snow and wind, no food, no water, until she stumbled into Eli's yard. Eli listened, jaw tightening. He'd seen that kind of lawlessness before, men who took because they could, knowing no sheriff would ride this far out. Over the next few days, the storm passed. But Eli's unease grew. Tracks appeared in the snow near the edge of his property, hoofprints that hadn't been there before. And twice, he caught sight of distant riders on the ridge, just silhouettes against the sky. On the 5th morning, Clara was inside kneading dough when the sound came. Hoofbeats. Fast. Close. Eli stepped onto the porch, rifle in hand. For riders crested the hill, snow sprang from their horses' hooves. The lead man was broad-shouldered, with a hard set to his jaw. The others rode in a tight line, weapons visible. "Where's my sister?" the lead rider demanded, swinging down from his horse. Eli didn't lower the rifle. "That depends on who's asking." The man's eyes narrowed. "Luke Boone. Those are my brothers, Sam and David. And that's our uncle, Jacob." Before Eli could speak again, the cabin door flew open. Clara ran out, her face breaking into a smile. "Luke," she cried, throwing her arms around the man's neck. The tension broke, almost. Luke's eyes softened as he held her, but when he looked back at Eli, there was still a flicker of guarded caution. Inside, over coffee, the Boone brothers told their story. After the attack, they'd managed to chase off the raiders but lost track of Clara in the chaos. They'd been searching for days, riding through the storm, fearing the worst. When Luke heard how Eli had taken her in, his shoulders eased. "You didn't have to help her. But you did. We owe you for that." Eli shook his head. "Didn't do it for thanks. Just ain't right to leave a person out in the cold." The Boones exchanged a glance. Luke leaned forward. "We've got land upriver." "Not much yet, just a cabin and some cleared fields. But we're making it into something. You're welcome to ride with us. Could use a man who knows how to handle a rifle and build a wall that'll stand in a storm." Eli's gaze drifted to Clara. She was watching him, a quiet smile tugging at her lips. In that moment, he realized his cabin had felt a little less empty since she'd arrived. He thought of the long, silent winters. Of nights with no sound but the wind. And of what it might be like to sit at a table where voices filled the room. Finally, he set his rifle aside. "Well," he said, "I reckon I've been alone long enough." The next morning, they rode out together, a man who'd opened his door to a stranger, and in doing so, found something he didn't even know he was missing. That winter, Eli Carter sheltered a lost pioneer girl. By spring, he'd gained more than company, he'd found a family.